And there we are, live again. Today is December the 16th, 2018, and thank you very much for tuning into this live stream on the cryptocurrencies. Good to see you here, Con. Always a regular, and great to have you along. So today, the big question is always about what Bitcoin price going to do. And I was just checking out a search here on online, and Crypto Crew University says, attention, Bitcoin next major move could be legendary. Let me switch screens here. Pull this down into place. So Bitcoin next major move could be legendary, he says. Bitcoin price analysis December 14th. Bitcoin price 2019 bullish scenario. Time traveler's prediction. And then the SEC fined some people $2.7 million for Bitcoin price manipulation. Really? Bitcoin price manipulation? No way. The guy got 10 years in jail. Holy. So, next Bitcoin price bottom. Are the whales planning a massive dump? Would you sell at 60K? All sorts of people with tons and tons of predictions. And here's one. Bitcoin will skyrocket in weeks or Q1 of 2019. Will it keep crashing? All sorts of conversation. Hundreds and hundreds of people are posting videos about Bitcoin prices. And who knows? Really knows? What I'm going to do today is talk about the simple trading plan and how I go about monitoring the markets. And I did this over the last few years, and I went from $0 to $500,000 following this simple plan. It's not difficult. Anyone can do it. It's just a matter of having the patience to keep going, especially during a time like this. So here we have the price of Bitcoin. And I'll go through Bitcoin today, and I'll go through all of the cryptos on Poloniex, and we'll take a look to see how many of them are shaping up to the chart formation that says they may be ready to go. So I appreciate you guys tuning in here. It's awesome. And I'm very grateful to have everybody tuning in here. Nice little musical interlude just to say thank you for the people who have dropped in, they're watching, the people who are subscribing on YouTube, the people who are following on Twitch. I'd like to give a thank you to the stream boss, Yes to Crypto, who is still holding that top spot, and a couple tippers, Old Scott and Crypto Trader Vader. I'd like to say thank you, guys. Awesome. I appreciate it. And now back to the stream. So what we have on the stream is on the bottom left-hand side, we have what is it? Bitcoin Wisdom off to the side, so we can keep track of what Bitcoin prices is doing on a very short-term basis while we're watching. And over here we have the significant trades popping up. So we got one on BitMEX there for a buy order for $100,000. And then above that we've got the chat. So if you're chatting on YouTube, hey Limar, good to see you here. Then your stuff will turn up on the screen. So as people are watching this later, your words are up there. You can see the temperature here where I am. It's -4 degrees. It's 11:33 a.m. The current price of Bitcoin is $32.70. The current price of Ethereum is $86. And you can go over to IntroToCryptos.ca/alerts and learn more about the services that I provide there on the alerts. And it's something like what we're going over here, but a lot faster for you if you're interested in that stuff. We have a community on Discord, and I will paste that into the chat right now. So if you're new to the channel or you're just watching this rerun later, come over and join us on Discord, where we talk about cryptos 24/7, all day and all night. We've got people from around the world there, so it's always something going on. Next, let's take a look at Bitcoin. You can see here that I'm looking at the price of Bitcoin from way back in July all the way through to September, October, and here November the 14th we had the crash. November the 18th or so, and more crash. And it's been sliding off here through the month of December. But as you can see, we've got lower lows going on here, and down below we can see the RSI showing a divergence from the prices of Bitcoin. And I've been watching this divergence develop over the last while. We're looking at, what is it, the 12-hour bars. And we also can see that the on-balance volume has changed here, where we are seeing less selling pressure than we were earlier. And generally, when you are hitting a bottom or a top, the volume declines. So as that started to fade or crash out here, we saw a lot of trading volume. And now that volume has been declining. At the same time, we have the RSI, but it's still not a bull signal yet. When we zoom in, what we're looking for in the simple trading plan is 3 different criteria in order to give us a buy signal. First of all, we're looking for the break of the downtrend line, and we don't quite have that yet. So we have this downtrend line, but prices have not broken above that downtrend line. The next thing we're looking for is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and we don't have that yet here either. So if I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, I'm looking for prices to come down, hit their lowest price. Then I want to see them come up, hit some support and resistance, pull back down and retest as though they're trying to go lower, but they can't. And then when they start to break out above here, this is the break of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And it isn't a new trading signal. This is a pretty basic technical analysis plan. It's part of the Elliott wave theory. It's part of a head and shoulders top formation. And you see it happening in charts all over the place, all the time, throughout history. One of the things you'll find in cryptocurrencies is that like all the bots know about this as well. And so often as it gets close to a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, prices will really burst up. But then prices come back and retest those levels before they go higher, if they're going to go higher. And so sometimes it's not a good idea to buy in on the breakout of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation right here. Instead, it's a better idea to just hang out and watch for prices to come back and test this level and start to show strength. If they test this level and show weakness, then you don't want to get into it. But if they retest this level and start to show strength off of this breakout of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, it's often a very good time to be taking a position. So what I'm doing with the live stream here is to go through the cryptocurrencies over and over and over again and monitor them all so that we can start to see a trend. And I started doing this back in September. You can see here September 11th and 12th. And I took screenshots of price predictions all the way through. And then as the time went along, I started to mark out which of the markets were actually making a trading signal. So I marked them green if they were making a trading signal, yellow if they were nearly a signal. If they were making new lows, then I marked them red. The markets that were a buy signal that pulled back, I turned them blue to say they were a cold fish. You know, it was a buy signal, but then it said get back out. And as I went through day by day doing these studies and demonstrating it all, I started to chart the greens and the reds and the blues so that we could see when is the bull market actually coming. So through September and the beginning of October, the mid-October, it was looking really great. But as we know, sort of the end of October and into November especially, prices really started to fade off. And you can see the color change here, where we see all this red and yellow, really good. I mean, the green and yellow, which is all really good stuff. And then we started moving into more oranges and blues and reds, which was all of the get out signals, all the sell signals. And we can see them all building up before the big break on Bitcoin Hell Day, as I call it, on the 14th of November. So we went through and we got all these video replays of all of these live streams so that we can go back and study what's going on. And after November the 21st, if we go back to Bitcoin prices and we look at November 21st right here, almost all of the alts had broken down to new lows. They had broken out of their bottom formations. They had really failed. And it was looking like we were having a bottom and prices were going to give us a little bit more strength. At this time, many of the alts were starting to make bottom formations, little wee bottom formations on the short-term scale instead of on the 12-hour scale. So what we were doing in our bull market watch is we started looking at things in a 4-hour bar time frame. And we started to mark out which ones were looking good on the 4-hour bars. But as you can see here, many of them went from an alert looking really good to a fail, where they pumped really quickly and then they failed all back. And so we have a whole bunch of trades that were looking like they were going to be good entries, but they turned out to be a fail, and a lot of different small losses if we had tried to actually trade those. So this is sort of what the history is of this channel and this study. Insert one to the right. Now we are on December the 16th. And as I've been going through and doing these alerts, I had people emailing me and sending me private messages saying, this is great stuff. I love the education. You're one of the few people that goes into the deep dive on all of this stuff and really details all of the processes. And they were asking, could you just email me the details instead of me having to watch the whole live stream for an hour? So what I ended up doing is I ended up creating an alerts package, the cryptocurrency alerts, over on IntroToCryptos.ca. And so this gives you an email notice of all of these studies, and it also gives you a private area on our Discord chat where we talk about the alerts. It's a much faster way to go through and get this information rather than having to sit through this sort of an educational webinar or seminar going all the way along. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But first of all, let's start digging into this stuff. Hey, Pan Noob, good to see you here. We got 15 people on. We got 1 thumbs up. So what I'm asking for as a fee for all of this training and all of this research is your thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button and I'd be very grateful. Sort of the currency of YouTube. So now what I'm doing is I'm going over to Poloniex, and I've got the whole list here of Poloniex markets, and we'll go through them one by one. And then I'll go in and I'll update the spreadsheet as to where are we now for all of these. We'll say, is it a near? Is it an alert? An alert is something that is almost the bottom formation, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And if you want to get that free training, you can go over to IntroToCryptos.ca, put in your name and email, and I'll send you a free chapter from my book, The Simple Trading Plan. And it's probably the most important chapter, which is why I want to give it away for free so that people get this information. And then we can, if you're interested in more, we can start from a higher level. We can start with some information already prepared, and we can really do some more training on it. So if we review this now, we're looking for a break of the downtrend line and kind of have it here. Then we're looking for the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and we're looking on the 12-hour bar time frame. So we do have the number 1 here, where the prices come down to the lowest lows. Here's our number 2, and it's come back to a number 3 position. If I clear that off and zoom in a little bit so we can see what's going on, we do have a 1, 2, 3, 2. Now here's a new number 3, and prices have shown strength off of this. One of the reasons I named this as is this the moon time? Is this where, thank you very much for the thumbs up. I see we got 5 thumbs up now out of 18 people watching, so we got a few more people tuning in. I appreciate that. And you know, I see some other channels have thousands of views, and I hope this channel grows as well. And it's through your cooperation, through hitting the thumbs up, through commenting on the chat, that YouTube realizes that this is good content and they'll share it more. So 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shaping up. I would say that this is an alert. Just got to be alert that it's coming near to having a turnaround in this market. So when we look at it over the long term, we can see that it's made some enormous moves in the past. Huge, huge, huge moves. Now when I zoom in, we can see that the RSI is looking strong. The on-balance volume has gone from negative to a little bit positive. So there's a bunch of different indicators that shows that ARDR may be on its way to going higher from here. And this is the kind of thing I do. I just look through the 1, 2, 3 bottom formations, and then we have some different risk control rules for getting into a trade and what to do with the longer term trade. This is not a day trading strategy. Definitely not. I really do believe that these markets go for a much longer time than just, you do a much better benefit and you save a lot of free time if you are not doing day trading. So let me clear that off and zoom back a bit for an example. Here is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. There's our buy signal, and all the way along here there's nothing to do but sit and wait until the top formation appears. Let me zoom into the 12-hour bars. Zoom back. Zoom into last year at this time. What was going on in the markets? This was really volatile actually. We can see what the prices did. It made a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We had a little bit of a breakout. Prices pulled all the way back to the number 3 point. Then they ran way up and pulled all the way back. Lots of volatility, and if you're trying to do day trading, you're probably going to get chewed up in this. If you're doing this trend trading and you are using a small enough position, you can let the market do these moves and you stay in it long enough to catch some of these really big moves. And that's the strategy, is to find a position and to run for the trend rather than trying to jump in and out on these little waves. Try to stay in for the whole tide of the movement instead of just jumping in out on the waves. And that's what we're looking for now, is these bottom formations and a place to put on a position and then to sit and ride it out. So all of these markets that are pulling back and making these 1, 2, 3 bottom formations, at the same time we can see in the background that Bitcoin is coming down and losing momentum. It's like you can see the shape of the bowl pattern in the background of that Bitcoin price. I do believe things are finding a bottom and are going to be changing directions. I don't know for how long, but we can see it all occurring. So there's enough for ardor. Let's go on and we'll continue to look at the rest of these coins. This is a coin that's already on the trend. Basic attention token. Radiogenic, good to have you here. Hey Lemar, good to, I appreciate your thumbs up, that's for sure. 20 people watching, great to have you here. Well, there's only 5 thumbs up though, so I'm trolling for thumbs up. Basic attention token. We saw this formation and we were watching this back in October. We identified this as a formation. We took this as a buy signal. Prices went up and I actually took a bit of profit here as it pulled back, and I took some more profit up here. Did really well on it. And then prices have pulled back. The great thing about this is it's actually in a trend, and it's not just a short movement. This is a longer term trend now, and we're seeing a very large ascending wedge triangle coming in here. And so I do believe that this is another buy signal shaping up for us, as prices have come 4 times off this bottom, and we're seeing a little, what I would call an internal 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And our alert would be to buy on a breakout above these levels. So as it breaks above these levels, this would be our buy signal. And again, there are those 2 different methods to do it, to enter. If it's going to go up and straight on, of course, it would be a good idea to buy and hold. But often prices are breaking out of these 1, 2, 3 bottoms, and then they're coming back to retest that level, and they're either going up or they're failing off. Lots of times we're seeing them burst out and then they're coming all the way back and retesting these low levels here. Lots of pessimism in the market, so as soon as there's any move upward, a lot of people are taking profits and selling it down. So these are the kind of the warnings to pay attention to when you're trading these, the different alternative ways to enter the market and what to watch for just after the market takes off. It's either going, if it's going up and we're into this area, then that's a great place to buy in. And if it breaks down, of course, you're glad that you didn't buy in here, because now you have to sell out at a loss. I think basic attention token is another one that is an alert above these levels. BCH ABC and BCH SV have a much shorter time frame, and so it's more difficult for this trading system to trade them, except this is a downtrend and it hasn't made a bottom formation yet, so that's easy. Then we go on to the next one. Got to zoom in and out a little bit of it. It was making this triangle, but it's faded off, and so it's not giving a signal that my trading system can do much with. I'm looking for things that are coming down to historical lows. They break that downtrend line, make a bottom formation, and the moving averages cross over. All of those things are what I look for, and it doesn't matter if it's cryptocurrencies or if it's silver. It's the same type of pattern. BCN, this is one that's coming down to historical lows, and actually, I haven't looked at this in a bit, but this RSI is diverging from the price, which is good, and we're seeing a change in the on-balance volume from selling to a little bit of buying. So I don't know where this might go, but that is matching the criteria roughly. And so then what I'd be watching for is the break of the downtrend line, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and the moving averages crossing over. Those 3 things put together kind of filter out a whole bunch of pump and dumps or fake out breakouts. And I try to put those together and keep myself out of the market until I see all those three things lining up, and that gives me all of the details I need for getting in. So not quite on this one yet. BNT, the Bancor network. I think this is a really good project, but the market is not showing that there's a whole bunch of uptake to it yet. So I'll wait for this one to make that bottom formation and turn around and start heading up the other way. Hello Gandhi, good to have you here. Let's see some real regulars tuning in, and that is awesome. I expect to hear some fantastic success stories from you guys as time moves along here. Here's BitShares. Now, BitShares, if we go back and take a look at long-term history, this has the potential to do some insane moves. All the way back down to these lows, made a bottom formation last year. Let me get rid of that. Move this back and zoom into last year. Let's take a look at exactly what happened here. We made this bottom formation. This is in October, and November it started to show a bit of strength. It pulled back until which date? Pretty much exactly this date last year. Many of the coins took off from this date last year, and away they went. Now we want to be able to pay attention to, now we're identifying these bottom formations that are happening right now. Right now in all these markets, we're seeing all sorts of bottom formations shaping up. Over the next weeks and months, we'll be watching the markets do their thing, and we'll be talking about it. And then we're going to be watching and watching for the 1, 2, 3 top formation and prices breaking down below that as our place to take at least some profits. And this is really key because many of the people who are in our community talk about the biggest challenge they have in cryptocurrency trading is when to take profits. So as we play this forward, we can see that this 1, 2, 3 top formation was a great place to have been taking profits. And we're going to really work on identifying those as the markets are moving along next time. So here we go again, 1, 2, 3 top formation. There's the break. Another top formation right here. But now we're down to a bottom formation. So we see the low and it pulled up a bit. Now we have a low. And if we zoom in on this, these 1, 2, 3 bottom formations actually do work on any time frame. So if you are day trading and when you're looking at the 1-minute bars or the 5-minute bars, this actually works. It's just a lot more tricky to get in and out at the right time. So here we have a number 1 point. There's the number 2 point. Here's our number 3 point. Prices are making an ascending wedge triangle and are just breaking up above it. So we see our triangle here. Stretch this out a bit. Prices actually broke above it, and now they're coming back to test on the other side of it. So we have resistance, 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 and then it broke through the resistance, and now we have support. If that holds support and shows a bit of strength off of that, that's one of the buy signals as it moves up off of there. Instead of buying on the breakout, you wait until it fades back and tests that breakout and shows strength, because often it'll come back and test that breakout and then it'll fail off and retest the lower lows. And you don't want to have gotten in here on the fake out breakout and then have to hold on to it while it's retesting these levels. So some of these strategies on entering are really fantastic. So BitShares is looking great. It's got this bottom formation shaping up. It's diverging from Bitcoin, where Bitcoin faded off, and this is holding its own, which is pretty cool. If I go to the 1 month view, we can see that this has also been showing an RSI divergence for a while here, where the prices are making some lows, but the RSI is diverging. We can see the on-balance volume is changing, where we had some massive selling here and much less selling here. The bears have run out of selling steam. So these things put together really are great indicators for this being a potential bottom right where we are. Now it doesn't match up to the simple trading plan yet though. If you are stepping back so that you don't want to get caught in all of the fake out breakouts that inevitably happen, then you want to look for the break of the downtrend line, which we are building up to here. We could even pull this out to a downtrend line all the way along, and it's coming up to breaking that downtrend line now. Second of all, we want to see a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, big enough that we're going to have the exponential moving averages crossover. Here's another good sign. The prices are lower lows, but the RSI is higher lows. That's really good. That's an RSI divergence. So what we want to see here in this one before the simple trading plan is going to give us a signal is probably touching these levels, retouching these levels, and then breaking higher from there. That'll give us enough maturity in this bottom that the moving averages will cross over, and it'll show us that the market has actually changed direction rather than just doing a quick pump and fading back. If I clear all this stuff off, move the chart back a bit and zoom in, we can see here's a fake out breakout. 1, 2, 3, and it gave this nice exciting candle to the upside, and if you reacted on that, now you're holding the bag waiting for it to actually go back up again. So the simple trading plan tries to filter out those kind of moves and just don't do anything when they're making a move like that, when you don't have those 3 criteria actually lining up. So again, if you haven't already, go over to the IntroToCryptos.ca and sign up for the free chapter where you get more explanations about the simple trading plan. Burst coin. All right, so this is actually shaping up. If we go zooming out, we're on the 12-hour bars. We have, it's hard to draw the trend line on this because it actually broke the trend line here. We could grab some lows here and say it broke this trend line as well. So we do have a breach of the down trend line. And then for the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, we have a double one. We have a low here and then a pretty much a matching low here. I'd call that a double one. And we have a double 2 as well. So now I could draw parallel lines on these and give myself this range to work with. And we're inside this range, which is great. It really just lays it out so clear. And if I go out to a longer term time frame, you can see this range actually fits in all the way back here. This is a really important range for these prices, all the way along, all the way through history, even support here. It's really good. Now that we're inside this, it gives us a really clear place to make our trading decisions as it comes out of this. So as Bitcoin comes up and all of the alts are coming up, this one is likely going to do much the same. So as it comes up and breaks above these levels, we have those 2 entry potentials again. So we have the entry potential where we could get in right here on the breakout, or we have the entry potential we could get in here as it retests this range and shows strength. So there's 2 potential possibilities as this starts to go up. Of course, if it breaks down this way, then we don't want to get in there. Then we're glad that we didn't get in on the first place because it's turned out to be a weakness. So as it comes up and pulls back, then that's not so good. And we really, if I clear all this stuff off now and zoom in, pull that history back a little bit, we could have traded one of these here. So if we had said, oh, this looks good, and we buy in right now, prices are looking great, it's fantastic. If you didn't put your stop loss up to protect that money, you lost it all. And you're at a small loss now. So the trading strategy of waiting is very powerful to protect your money. So again, if you saw this as a range and you bought in, you have to move your stop loss up right away above your entry point. Otherwise, the markets take it away. They give it to you and they take it away. They give it to you and they take it away. So this is actually a really good trade signal now. I'd still have to wait for it, but it's shaping up really great. Now clams, this was a harder one to trade. And we were watching this as things were building up. And we were calling this a bit of a bottom formation. There were some signs of some pre-accumulation going on. But this was a hard one to catch for the simple trading plan. It didn't give us a nice 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. But you can see that the moving averages crossed over and gave us that signal. Now what's it going to do? Now it's actually out of my trading consideration until I pull back to a much longer time frame. Let me clear off that stuff. And consider the fact that this has done some much bigger moves in the past. I would take this whole thing as a bottom formation now. And if it was to be breaking higher out of this, that would be a place to consider putting on a small bit of a position. And then if the trend proves itself out over time, zoom back, then it might be something to consider, because it's gone considerably higher in the past. You can see how small this trading range is when we really take a look at the long term. If I zoom back into the 1 week view, this actually looks significant. Looks like it's a big amount, but over the whole history of this market, it's very small. Not one of my favorites though. I don't see a big use case for Clamcoin. It was one of the early favorites because it was so well distributed when they first released it. Civic Coin. It's come down. Now we have this downtrend line. Not enough yet for it to break and give us the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Looking at the 12 or the 1 day views, so if we go at the 12-hour bars, even here it's giving us it's giving us some nice pre-pump candles. You can see all the way down here, this is some really great on balance volume buying and buying and buying and buying. So I do believe that the big guys are accumulating this stuff, and there's not a lot of selling going on when it does come down. It does look to me like there's a lot of buying going on, and not that much selling. So I'm kind of in favor of this one because I've read up about the project itself, but look at all these pre-pump candles as well, where somebody's buying up a swath of it, then they're just sitting back and waiting. Here again, they're buying it up and they're sitting back and waiting. So we have the opportunity to identify that and see this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shaping up. So if we are astute, we'll be watching this now. This is an alert. It's alerting us that something is coming in this market. And we're looking at the 12-hour bars, 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's already broken the downtrend line. And should this market come up and break above these levels, it would be probably making these exponential moving averages cross over at near that same time. But because it's got these pre-pump candles, we can expect that there's going to be a lot more of those pre-pump candles. We don't want to jump in and then have it wick back on us. So it may be something that you want to wait for the takeoff in the other direction so that it comes back over the our buy signal, comes back and retests it, and then buy in on strength. We may even get some really big candles wicking up and then it pulling all the way back, and that might be a place to enter. We've seen a few of those markets shaping up just recently. So we got a few questions here. I'm sorry, but I think you are too biased. Bitcoin hasn't showed any strength whatsoever since 6K. There's no sign of a reversal. I think you are right. I am definitely biased, and I am watching closely for that bias to actually manifest itself. So all the way through since September, we've been watching for this same thing. And all the way through, we've been saying, well, Bitcoin has not given us our criteria. It didn't break the downtrend line. And when it did break the downtrend line here, the moving averages didn't cross over at the right time. And we didn't get the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout. So there was no time all the way along here that we said Bitcoin was a buy signal. Not at all. And so the bias is always looking for that buy signal for sure. And would have been great to be looking for the sell signal, absolutely. But it is the bias that I'm looking for, because for most of the cryptos, you buy low and sell high. So now that Bitcoin has been going down, we've been saying there's nothing to do most of the time. But as it's approaching these levels, let me zoom in on this. We're going to see nested 1, 2, 3 bottom formations. And we always do on the turnaround. So here we have, what tool do I have? Here's our number 1. Here's our number 2 points right here. And we've pulled back and we've got some number 3s going on. So on this time frame, as Bitcoin breaks above these levels, we would have the same strategy. Buy on the break or wait for it to retest and then buy on the further strength from there. And it's the same strategy over and over again, and I use it all the time as the markets are descending. I'm constantly watching for this. And so many times you'll be chipping out a little bit of money here. You'll chip out a little bit of money as you're testing to see, is this the bottom formation? And then you say, no, it isn't. You get back out. Is this the bottom formation? No, it isn't. And I get back out. And again, and again, and again, all the way down until when I am in a position, then there's nothing to do. So it's a lot of work to be watching for these bottom formations, constant vigilance, and then when you get them, there's a lot of nothing to do. So definitely I am biased. And Radiogenic says, we'll know if it closes below the 200 moving average on the weekly. I don't think this is the bottom yet, actually. When you mentioned the 200 period moving average in the weekly, I don't think this is the complete bottom yet. What I'm watching for, and I've said this before, I was watching for it to come up down to the 3,800 level, up to about the 52 to 53, maybe $5,500 level, and then we're going to see a big spike down even further. But instead, it's been fading off. And so I still believe that we're going to see that move up and then a very sharp move down further. And it's kind of because I believe the markets are manipulated, and I believe that the market manipulators really know how to milk the money out of it all the way along. So they're manipulating it from the top, from the bottom, and as the shorts get really high, they will run it up. Then all the longs will get really high and they'll run it back down, and they're going to clean everybody right out just in time for those futures trading markets to open up. Now, of course, it's a conspiracy theory. There's no way to prove it except that the SEC is arresting people for manipulating. So Radiogenic, you don't think it's the bottom yet either? Yeah, of course. It's not. There's no way to really tell, but there's really great support and resistance levels. If I grab this horizontal line tool right down here. So we're just below another really powerful level. And this is where I do believe that the big moves will be happening. If I zoom back in on these levels, let's clear that out. I need to get rid of auto, drag this up, just ignore the background there. There. This is where I believe prices will come up. Prior support and resistance way over on the left, and then down to these levels. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and then prices will continue on where Bitcoin is going to be heading. So I think there's still more trouble to come yet. At the same time, where we are right now, and many of the alts are showing a bottom formation. And when this actually happens here, we're going to see them running up. So what I want to do now is go back to Poloniex. Where were we anyway? Well, we didn't get to decreed. Let me put this back onto auto and bring up our background of Bitcoin price. Zoom into the 3-month view and take a reflection on what was happening right here. And we could go through many of the altcoins, and we were seeing a potential 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here shaping up from August 13th, September 11th, September 12th rather, October 11th. All of these were key days, and in this big 3-month movement here, it really looked like everything was going to be going up from this bottom formation, and they didn't. And what we saw was a run up and then an internal 1, 2, 3 bottom, or a 1, 2, 3 top formation, and then things broke down below the parallel channel. And I'm watching for that same type of setup now. And this isn't a great example of it. It's come down to historical lows. It's making a 1, 2, 3 bottom, but now it's going to take some time for this to manifest its. That's the wrong way. Let me clear that. Start again. This is the kind of thing I'm looking for now from these bottom formations. As Bitcoin, if Bitcoin runs up to the $5,100 level, all of the alts are going to go on a very nice move. And then we're going to be watching for those top formations. If I can draw that in there, just as a complete speculation. We'll watch for these 1, 2, 3 top formations as prices are dropping out of that parallel channel. That's where we'll liquidate everything. we'll sell out all of our alts and we'll sell out all of our Bitcoin and we'll put everything into a stable coin or into fiat, heaven forbid, but more likely into a stable coin. USDT, true US dollar. There's a few different ones now that are on the market. And Gandhi says the bottom is close to 1K. Well, we'll certainly see. I hope not. Pen Noob says volume has been weakening on the weekly. Hopefully it stays above the 200 moving average. I think the volume weakening is showing that we are near the temporary bottom right now. And Adriana says tomorrow is the bottom. Tomorrow is the bottom. So let's zoom into the 3-day view here. So then we're going to have a pretty sharp spike down from here. If tomorrow is the bottom, then we haven't seen the bottom yet. Certainly, we have to see this trend line break. And if this trend line breaks, it's going to be significant. It'll mean something. It hasn't broken in a long time. It's been hammered straight down from this all the way along. You can almost point it right back to here as our down trend line. And we also have, let me clear this volume out just to get the noise out. We have a descending it was going down sharper here. Now it's going down less sharply. So we're starting to see a curve in this setup. And you know, if you throw a ball up in the air, it will do a curve shape. And then at the apex of that curve, you know the ball is going the other direction. So if I was to take something that floats and take a gun and shoot it down into water, it would do the same thing. It's going to go down, but it's actually accelerating upwards all the way along here. It's slowing down how fast it's going down. What's going to happen after that? It's going to bob right back up to the surface. So we'll see. I think that it's actually running out of downward steam here significantly. If we bring up the on-balance volume, we can see that the selling pressure has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller as it's going down here. So I'm betting that it's going to be going up from here. And as we're going through all of these cryptos, let's go over to Digibyte. We're seeing a lot of them picking this bottom as well and starting to show the beginnings of their 1, 2, 3 bottom formations, the beginning of their turning around. And it's this that is making me pay attention now that this could be the time to be getting ready. We're going to have a more aggressive move up to 7,000 to 8,000 and then down to find the bottom. Well, what I'm going to be doing as these alts do make a bottom formation and start to move forward and upward, I'm going to be watching those parallel channels. They will make parallel channels, and as they make a formation at the bottom of that parallel, at the top of that parallel channel, it'll be the same as this but upside down. We can see it made a low, and then it started to go the opposite direction and out of the parallel channel. And I'm going to be watching for those parallel channels to be working on the up scale, so that as things are going up and up and up and up, and they come to the edge of the channel and they make a top and then they start going the other direction, that's when I'm going to be liquidating. And I'll let the parallel channels and that top formation, the moving average changeover, be my indicators. You know, if we could flip this upside down, that's what I'm looking for from now over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe not as long as that. And 19 people watching and 10 thumbs up. So don't hammer, just press really firmly on that like button. I appreciate that. If you're finding any kind of helpfulness from this, that would be fantastic. Now, Dogecoin was one that I noticed this parallel channel going down, down, down. And then we had the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation right here. As prices broke out of that parallel channel, I bought in and I made some nice profit on this small move. 1 year Maximi. Not sure what that means. But look at the parallel channel shaping up here in Dogecoin now. So this is the kind of thing I'm watching for all of the cryptos to give me this bottom formation that we're watching for right now, the parallel trend line upward, and then I'm going to be watching for a top formation, 1, 2, 3 top formation, and a fail outside of that uptrend line as we move along. And I'll extend that out all the way along, and I'll be watching for this with all of the altcoins. And when we get to a point where there are a dozen or 20 of the altcoins all making this top formation, all making the breakout of the parallel trend line, that's the time to liquidate everything. December 17th. Yeah, look at that, eh? Crazy. From last year, it was up at almost $20,000. This year, crazy. A real amazing change. And the technology has gotten further involvement from everybody. So it will turn around. It's just a matter of time. EOS, if we move in on this one, zoom in on this one, this is actually a trading signal that we identified and have bought into in our trading alerts. Here's our 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's actually a nice ascending wedge triangle, and that's showing strength. I'm going to have to, there we go. It's showing strength, and it's diverging from Bitcoin. And many of the coins are showing these bottoms and diverging from Bitcoin, showing that more money is flowing into them. More money is flowing into them than is flowing out of Bitcoin. If they were staying flat or going down with Bitcoin, then that would make me more pessimistic. But because we're seeing so many of them hit this low and now resisting what Bitcoin is doing and actually going up, I think this is the time to be watching for Bitcoin to finish this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And if Bitcoin breaks above these levels, we're in for some nice moves in all of the alts. Even Ethereum Classic has made this bottom and is showing an ascending wedge triangle. So a break above these levels is a buy signal in Ethereum Classic, which has been really failing off big time, more than many of the other coins. So to see it making a little bottom formation, the RSI is diverging. We see the on-balance volume is turning a little bit positive. This is another one of the many coins that is giving me this feeling that the bottom is here and we're going to start to see a bit of an uptrend. I don't know how long, but you know my plan is to watch for the parallel channel and watch for it to break out of the top of that parallel channel and then liquidate into either fiat or a stable coin. And then watch for Bitcoin to do that crazy dive. Digibyte to the moon, 10,000 Satoshi. I agree. That's a great coin. It's a great project. And if we look at this over a long period of time, I was really bullish on this. When it made this massive triangle here, it was having higher lows all the way through the year, while all of the other alts were having lower lows and fading off. So I thought this was really going to be taking off. Even when it started to come down to these levels, I was thinking, okay, it's just retesting, it's just pushing it to the edge, but then faded off. So I'm still watching for this one to make a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Now it's given us a much more clear down spot. It would have to come up now for me. It'd have to retest these levels and then break higher. And if it made a nice ascending wedge triangle in these levels, that would be even better. But I am a holder of this one as well. I've got some of that. Factum. We know went crazy as Bitcoin was dropping pretty much on the day. So it was the 14th of November that Bitcoin started to drop. It was the 16th of November that Factum started to go, and it was off of a news announcement of a new partnership that they did, and prices chug all the way up, and they've pulled back, and it's amazing to see over, let's see, Fibonacci channel, Fibonacci. Maybe I don't need the channel, I need the Fibonacci retracement. Over and over again, prices coming back to the 50% level, the 38% level, and that's where they consolidate and pull back. You can see the historical levels all the way along. Now when I zoom in on this, we can see that it made an internal 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Moving averages crossed over. It looks like it's continuing on the trend now. So it started off on the trend. Let me clear that off. Give me my parallel channels. And it broke higher out of that channel for a bit, touched the bottom of it, made the top formation, and as it broke out of that channel, there's our exit signal. This is the kind of thing I'm watching for now in all of the alts. Exactly this. I want to see them go range inside this parallel channel, and as they top and they're breaking out of it, this was very close a couple times, but as they break out of it, this is the kind of time that I'll be looking to take off at least part of my position and take some of those profits. So we'll be watching for those over time, and I'll be very happy to be doing these videos and explaining that as it actually happens. Let's move on to game credits. 3-month view, zoom back. So there's our downtrend line. Here's our 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Moving averages would cross over if this is going to be breaking above these levels. So let me draw in that downtrend line. Zoom in on this. So it needs some more maturity to break that trend line. But we do have the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We do have an RSI divergence, a little bit weaker on balance volume, where there was more volume of selling going on here and a little bit less volume of selling there. So all of these things are lining up to let us know that the momentum is changing. It's not a buy signal yet. It's not time to get in. I want to wait for it to come up. And, you know, the same strategy again. It breaks that 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It breaks the downtrend line. The moving averages cross over. Prices break above here. As they come back and retest it and show strength, this is where my favorite place to buy in is. And we'll just watch for this over time to see if it actually does that. Gas, here's an example of the fake out breakout that you want to avoid. And so when we were trading this earlier, and I go here so I can move the chart back a little bit. Let's zoom in and see what happened. We had the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We had the breakout of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. The downtrend line had already been broken, but the moving averages didn't cross over in time for this to be a confirmation. So there was no trade signal here. By the time prices came back and they were no longer above the 1, 2, 3 bottom, then we had a bit of a crossover and crossover again, but it never did give us an entry signal. Using the simple trading plan, it protected us from that fake out breakout, and now we're watching again for a new bottom formation. We have a new number 1 point, so we have a new downtrend line for this to break, and it'll be a while before this one shapes up. Even if it blasts off really quickly, the simple trading plan will keep us sort of protected from fake out breakouts, and it is looking pretty good. We have lower lows. We have a bit of an RSI divergence. We see the on-balance volume is getting weaker. So another one that is starting to show those signs of, like, you throw a ball up in the air and you'll see that apex. We can see that this has been coming down and coming down. Now it's coming down less and showing us reversal forces. I love it. I love going over these things and picking this stuff out, because then I know that I'm getting prepared for it. Here's another fake out breakout. Let's zoom into the 1 month view. So we're looking at the 4-hour bars, and I'll drag this back. So as prices were coming down, we have the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Even had the RSI divergence. We had the on balance volume looking fantastic, and then prices broke higher, and it's easy to say, there we go, I'm jumping in, and you start buying. And prices came all the way back and back even further. So when you are trading these 1, 2, 3 bottoms, this is a strategy that will filter out some of those fake out breakouts for you. First of all is the simple trading plan, where you're doing this on the 12-hour bars instead of the 4-hour bars. So if we zoom back to the 12-hour bars, we saw the 1, 2, 3 bottom, but the moving averages didn't cross over. We had the breakout, we had the break of the downtrend line, but we didn't get all 3 confirmations, and so we would not have taken action on this trade. So if you're in the 4-hour bars and you're zooming in, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to be more aware of the risks. And if you were trading this, you wouldn't trade the breakout. You would say, okay, that looks fantastic. I'm going to let it come back and test these levels. And if it's showing strength off that, then I'm going to get in. And that would have saved your butt because it just came back out of this. If you would have bought into this anywhere along, it turned into a loss for you. And this happens over and over and over again on exactly this time frame, partly because the downtrend is still in force, partly because we've got all of the bots and all of the excited traders really jumping into it. The FOMO gets everybody. So this, what I'm teaching here is not just for you guys, it's to get it into my own head so that I'm completely remembering it. Hey, thank you very much, Bitcoin TV. I appreciate that a great deal. Of course, I'm selfish. The person I want to benefit most is me. Last time this came around, I turned, I don't know, it was $7,500 at the beginning of January 2017. And by the January 2018, it was $500,000. It made a killing. It was fantastic. And I want to do that again, but even bigger this time. I want to make sure I don't make the mistakes I did last time. And so by going over this and having you guys as an audience, it keeps me disciplined. It keeps me doing much more work than I would just do on my own. And so it's a benefit for me too. It's a huge win-win. Hunter coin, nothing going on here. No break of the downtrend line, no 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, big on balance volume selling. So we'll just turn our attention away from that one for a while. The Kyber network, I think, is going to do well, and we can see that some of the investors think so too, because we get these big spikes up, and as it gives any kind of power, we get a big FOMO buying, and then it fell back again. This is another example. If we're looking on the 4-hour bars, zoom into the 1-month view and pull this back. This is very enticing. We've got the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We've got this nice on balance volume taking off. We've got the RSI giving us all of the signals as well. And prices breakout right there. Oh yeah, here it goes. I'm so happy. I'm going to buy. And down it goes. So here's another example. And the more times you repeat this, the more you get those neurons wiring together in your brain, the more you will believe this stuff and you'll be able to take action appropriately. And I'm talking to myself as much as you. When it does this breakout, do I want to buy on the breakout now? Or do I want to wait for it to actually prove it to me and show me strength after the retest of this number 2 point? So many times now we've seen it break out and then fail back. So if you had bought anywhere in here, you've turned it into a loss. And that is, losses are hard to come back from. Not just the money that you have to make, but the demoralization as it pisses you off. And then you start turning your attention away. You say, I'm just going to go and buy a lottery ticket, or I'm going to go watch a movie or something. And you don't check the charts for a few days just because you're so pissed off. And then they take off. So watching for these things and having a strategy for them before they actually happen is key. You know that no astronaut will go to the launch day and cross his fingers that things are going to work. They study this stuff over and over and over and over, and especially studying what could go wrong and practicing it over and over and over again, so that as soon as you get into something like this and it does start going wrong, you know to get out. You know that the risks are great and you don't want to be in there for the risky part. Library credits. I've been watching this one do a bottom formation and do another bottom formation and pulling back again, and the RSI is looking great. The on balance volume is showing positive, and I put my orders in to buy up above these levels and it's pulled back. So I've still got to wait on this one. Still got to wait. If it breaks up into this box, then that is a potential place to be buying into the box, or a retest on the bottom of the box. Either one of those is a buying place. And then as soon as the price goes above my entry point, I want to move my stop loss up and protect that. Just because we see so many fake out breakouts, you've got to be risk adverse. At the very beginning of the trade, that's all I'm talking about now, is how to identify the beginning of the trade and how to get into that first bit of the trade. as the markets move along and we're having this uptrend line happening, then the conversation will change and we'll talk about adding on to the trade and what to do with your stop losses and where to put them and all that. Loom. This doesn't have as much history as in Binance. But here again, we've got 1, 2, 3 times off this bottom. We do have the RSI diverging. We do have on balance volume looking great. Some really good, lots of powerful buying, and a little bit of selling, lots of buying. So I think that this one's going to go somewhere significant. But again, same thing. I'm going to wait for it to break above that, wait for it to pull back and test, and then this is going to be the buy spot. Just because I'm getting gun shy with all of these fake out breakouts going on here. You know, it takes off and then it fades back. So if you had bought in anywhere here, you've got to sell out at a loss, or you're holding the bag hoping it's going to go up. Hope is a beggar. You don't want to be begging the markets. Lisk is one I really like. It's a project that you can build apps on, and you can use just regular programming languages. You don't need a special programming language. And it was looking phenomenal. They did their rebranding and down it's come. Right back down to historical levels. And if you can see, like, the on balance volume down here is huge, really big. And now it's petered right off that there's hardly any buying volume at all in here. So if we zoom into the 3-month view, now we're starting to see a bottom formation. A really nice tightening wedge here. And the RSI is diverging. We see the on balance volume is picking up. So maybe the market is starting to give some love to Lisk. We'll have to wait and see over time. I like it. I like the project. I like the chart pattern. But it hasn't proven out as much as I thought it would. So then it makes me a little nervous. But it doesn't matter. If it makes the pattern, I take the action. Litecoin has been showing more strength than Bitcoin. Look what it's been doing. As it came down to these levels, it was itching to go. And then Bitcoin's going down, so everybody was selling out of this. Now it's made another bottom formation, and it's itching to go more than Bitcoin. You can see as it's bottoming out here, 1, 2, 3, 4 times off this low level. And as Bitcoin came down to newer lows, Litecoin said, nah, I've had it. I'm going. So we had a buy signal in our Litecoin. That turned into a positive signal. We've got, I don't know, 18 or 20% profit on that one right now. And the stop loss is moved up above this support and resistance level. And the stop loss is staying back there because I am anticipating this is going to swing around a bit. And I don't want to just jump in for a quick bit of profit. If I'm in there, I protect my initial investment, and then I want to be hands off and wait, because the waiting is where you make the most of your money. Waiting, doing nothing. When you've got a correct position, there's nothing to do. So now that this is profitable, I have my stop loss above the entry point. There's nothing to do. I'll let the market have the room to move. And it may be that it comes back and I get stopped out and I don't make as much profit in that moment as I would make if I sold out right now. But I want to stay in the market for the potential for much, much greater gains. I don't want to get rid of my Litecoin. I think Litecoin is going to go up to $1,000 a coin in the next bull run. And the next bull run, I think, is going to be 18 months, 12 to 18 months. Just like we saw in Bitcoin. If I go to Bitfinex, Bitcoin US dollar, 1 year view, pull it back, pull it back, pull it back, and drag the chart back here. Where did this actually start? I bought in September the 24th, 2015 here. That's when I actually took cash, a couple $1,000, and I bought Bitcoin. Other than that, I've earned it, I've grown it, I've mined it, I've earned it through referral programs and stuff, and I haven't bought very much Bitcoin. But this one I actually purchased September the 24th. After watching it all this through that summer, this formation was irresistible to me as it was doing this. Irresistible. It had given us the capitulation lows, right? This is what I'm looking for now. Prices to come up, and then those capitulation lows, and then we'll start the trend. And I believe that the altcoins will go through a 12 to 18 month bull market, much like Bitcoin did. So here we are, September 2015, 2016, 2017, and we know what happened. Look at this big ascending wedge triangle and burst out of there. So the more of these ascending wedge triangles that shape up, the more that I think it's going to be going and going and going and going. And this is what the altcoins are going to do. It's going to be 12 to 18 months, maybe 2 years of craziness. And getting in at the time right now is going to turn out to be something of fantastic. That's what I'm betting on. And I think that Litecoin is going to go to $1,000 a coin from the turnaround here in the next 12 to 18 months. It's not going to be real quick, but this is the lowest. This is historical important levels, so I can't ignore it. I really want to keep in that position as much as I can. So I leave my stop just above my entry and then let it have the move. Let it do the range, and we'll talk about that ad nauseum as the markets go along. What am I at now? Jumping backwards. MadeSafe coin. Wow, there's a big skewer down I wasn't expecting. And yet, we were watching this trend line earlier, and this parallel channel, when it dropped out of that parallel channel, this was an exit signal. It's come up and tested that again. Now it's turned into resistance at a really key level all the way along through history. And yet I still believe that this is going to be a monster mover, and it's going to go 10 times over the next while. They're going to be launching their network, and you can see what a small range we're in right now. Nothing compared to where it's been in the past, and really nothing compared to where it's going to be as it stages and goes higher after they start getting that network actually launched. So very surprising move to me on the short-term level to see this big skewer down, but maybe that's our capitulation low. At any rate, it wouldn't be something to buy into right now. It's not breaking the downtrend line. It's not making a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's got to do some more pain before it's going to give us that bottom formation again. So here's the pain, and we zoom in on that. We can see the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and then prices started to take off, and there was a buy signal, and the moving average crossed over right there. Now we got to wait for that to do the whole thing again for MadeSafe coin. Namecoin, a market that I really never expected anything of, but here's our 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. There's our buy signal. We did indeed mark this one in our trading alerts as a buy, and now we've moved the stop loss up below this recent support and resistance level, and we're just letting it go, see what happens. But it's turned into a nice profitable trade just watching for these bottom formations, and it really did opposite to Bitcoin, and it was unexpected, but it doesn't matter. You got to trade this over and over again, and then the unexpected will happen, and you're there for it. NXT. It's very easy to back test your technique, and I know it'll consistently produce big winners and small losers, Doug. Yep. That's the key to having success, being consistent at it. And for sure, I've done the back testing. Let me pull up the spreadsheet with the back testing just to show you. And this spreadsheet with all this back testing is something you get as a bonus if you purchase the alerts package. If you purchase the alerts package, you get a bonus. You get a copy of my book, the entire book, worth $79, and you get this entire study here worth $149 for free as part of that. So you could buy the basic alerts package. I don't know, it's $27 a month or something like that. And you get all of these studies to go along with it. So here's the bull market from March to July of 2017. You can see the percentage gains here. 609%, 4,200%. And Digibyte, when we look at the trade here in Digibyte, we see the moving average crossover here. And then we see that the moving averages did not cross back over until after the top formation. And then this is when I marked it as a sell signal. So there's lots of ways you could be sold and had way more than 4,200% profit on this trade. But the trading system, when I go through and do the back testing, Ethereum Classic was 465%, Ethereum was 700%, Factum was 200%. Folding coin, which is no longer listed on Poloniex, was 667%. And I made some phenomenal profits on this as it made this bottom formation. And you can see the moving averages don't cross back over all the way along here. So there's nothing to do. Leave your stop losses back far enough that you're not going to get clipped out and miss the whole big move. This is really the big key. There's nothing to do. April, May, June, July, all the way along, nothing to do. And I think that in our next bull market, it's going to be like this, but for 12 to 18 months. So here, this study goes through all of them. So you get tons and tons of pattern recognition to go through and study. You can see where things started out, when we could get out at the other side of the top formation. After it's topped out is where we're looking to get out. And we've got the bull market from December 17th to January 2018, and the little bit of a bull run we had from April to May. All of those chart patterns, so that you can see here where we had minus 3%. So here's the moving averages, the 1, 2, 3 bottom, the downtrend line broke, the moving averages crossed over, giving us our buy signal. But then the moving averages crossed over and we had to get out. And it's a good thing too, because it would have been much greater than a 3% loss if you had not paid attention. There's our 1, 2, 3 top formation, moving average crossover. It's a simple trading plan and it really, really works. So NXT is coming down to now at today's prices. We have 1, 2, 3 times off this bottom. It hasn't broken the downtrend line. Let me zoom out a bit. Zoom out to the 3-month view. Pull it back. We can see this downtrend line, how it's making this bottom, and it's squeezing into a bottom at the same time that Bitcoin is. We see the RSI divergence, a little bit of change to the on-balance volume, so there's not as strong of selling. But there wouldn't be a buy signal until it breaks above the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and until the moving averages cross over. That would filter us out, probably right just above these support and resistance levels. And here again, I can map it out as before it even happens. You could buy here, but it's probably going to come up and hit these other support and resistance levels, come back and retest this. So if it's showing strength out of that, it's going to be good. If it retests and goes lower, then you know that you shouldn't have bought in on the breakout, but wait until this retest and strength off of it. Mr. Babs, hey, good to have you here. Please chart EDG. I do take requests. EDG. I love requests. And that's on Bittrex. EDG. It's on HitBTC and Liquid and Live. All right. We're looking at the 12-hour bars. This is great. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, moving average crossover, and a breakout. All 3 of the criteria are present. And so this would be a buy signal. One way is to say, okay, it broke out, I'm buying it, because sometimes it breaks out and it just keeps going and never comes back. Another way is to say, well, look, it's right up to old support and resistance. It may fade back a little bit and then start to go off. So there's a few different ways to approach that. But look at the change in RSI on this one. As we're making this bottom formation, we're getting confirmation with the relative strength index. We're getting confirmation with the on-balance volume changing from a heavy, heavy selling. And even here, we see a heavy, heavy selling right here. Less heavy selling on the lower prices. So that's telling me right there. Oh, let me clear this off. If you're a shorter term trader, look at this. On-balance volume showing that there's heavy selling here, less heavy selling here. RSI showing a divergence from this price level right there. So if you're a shorter term trader, this is just juicy. You see this happening, you know there's action happening. And conversely, when we're going up to the tops and we see this kind of thing, we're going to be taking action on that as well. Because if we see a high and then a higher high, but less volume in the RSI divergence, that is probably the highest it's going to go, and we want to be getting out. But for filtering out the fake out breakouts, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, the moving average crossover, the break of the downtrend line, those 3 things help filter out a lot of the fake out breakouts. And one of the last filters is to identify when are you going to get in. Are you getting in on the breakout, or are you going to get in on the retest of the number 2 point and strength after that? There's a couple different ways to play that. Let's zoom back on this. I love it. Thank you for bringing this up, because this isn't a market I've looked at all. I haven't been looking at anything over on Bittrex. I've been sticking to Binance and Poloniex. And over on the side, we can see tons of green right now in the significant trades in the last 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Lots of green, no red. That's good. And we can see down over here a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shaping up in Bitcoin. So if it breaks above that level at 33.40, 33.45, that would be good. So look on the weekly too. Yeah, weekly's harder. It just doesn't have enough history. Most of the cryptos don't have enough history to look at the weekly charts properly. But I love it. This is a great formation. Really great chart. And I'm keen to watch this one over time now. Let me star this. I'll come back to it. Love it. So if anybody else has a market that you are keen on, you want to have a quick look at it, shoot it into the chat there. I'll be happy to. I'm nuts about doing this stuff. I really like it. And one of the things I like the best is that I can do this and potentially help people who I never have a chance to meet in person. And that just boggles my mind, and I love it. So we got 22 people watching. Probably some people came in and out, and there's 14 thumbs up. So we're at a bit of a loss here. We got at least 8 people watching who haven't given a thumbs up yet. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Any kind of interaction is good. Any kind of feedback is good. OMG. I thought this was going to do much better. A year and a half ago when I first learned about it, I thought, wow, that sounds like a great project. But it sure follows Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes down, OMG just follows right along. Which means that if its price is going down against Bitcoin as Bitcoin's going down, it's losing much faster than Bitcoin is. If it stayed steady as Bitcoin was going down, then it's also losing because we're measuring against Bitcoin, but it's losing double fast when it's going down like this. Many of the alts are losing double fast. And I'm really keen to have my money into alts as we come to these bottom formations, because as Bitcoin's going up and the alts are going up, you're winning double fast. You're double dipping on these things. Anyway, this isn't giving us a trading signal yet. We've got lower lows. Even though the RSI is diverging, we're starting to see some on-balance volume be positive. This needs more time to mature and turn around and give us the break of the downtrend line, the moving averages crossing over. It's got some work to do. I'm happy to look. So more suggestions, the better. Omni, MadeSafe coin is an Omni coin for now. I don't know what they'll change to after they launch the network. It goes into a safe network token instead of a MadeSafe coin. But it's one of the few coins that's actually run on the Omni chain. Omni was one of the first before Ethereum where you could put a coin onto their chain. And it hasn't done very well over the last while. It's really faded. And I don't know if it's going to actually take off and do much of anything, because it's, you know, a technology that was good in its day, but there's so many more that are better than it to do the same thing that I don't know. But I said the same thing about Namecoin, so who knows? If it makes the formation, I trade it. Pascal coin, over the longer term, this is looking really good. When we zoom in, it still needs a bit more turning around yet to do. Certainly it's got to come above these support and resistance levels before it can give us a buy signal. We were in it long out of this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation right here. It was a good, nice, profitable signal. And then it pulled back here, and we took this as an add-on spot. This is a 1, 2, 3, and we added on to it right here. But as it pulled back, then we took this as our exit signal. As it broke this uptrend line and started to fade off, that was our exit. We got out of this market. So probably didn't end up making very much on this trade overall, because it really pulled back and withdrew right back to pretty much our entry points. Now it's pulled back here. It gives us another chance to review it. If it breaks above these levels, there's a chance that it could be something good to get into. And of course, looking at the long-term history, it's been way higher before. So let me clean all this stuff up. We just have a much larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation to consider here. And if it shows strength above these levels, that's great. Snorkel plus 1 got you to the EDG chart. Awesome, Snorkel plus 1. Thank you very much. He's a very good trader. He's been great for our community. PPC coin. Okay, it was looking pretty good, and it gave us that breakout and faded back. Here's another example of the alternate way of getting into a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, even though the moving average crossed over. And we're looking at the 1-day bars, so that's even a stronger confirmation. It broke out and then it pulled back and fell down. So another example of wait till it hits that number 2 point. Here's our number 2 point from the past, and on strength buy in on that. It's the 4th filter out of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, the simple trading plan. The simple trading plan says wait for the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout. Wait for the downtrend line to be broken, which usually happens before the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breaks out. And then wait for that exponential moving average to cross over. Those are 3 filters. And now, waiting for it to pull back and show strength off of there would be the 4th filter, which would clean up a lot more of these fake out breakouts that we've been enduring the last while here. And I'm glad to put all that stuff together for my own approach to things. So here's a bottom formation, and it showed a little bit of pump out of this. When I zoom into it, we can see that it's a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and the pump. And actually, it pulled back and is showing strength. Could be good. Next time you chart a coin with less history, try using the 3-day period instead of the weekly. So if I pull this down and go to the 3-day period, well, this is a bad example. RADS has been delisted. Let's go to rep. So we're looking at the 3-day chart of rep. You can see I got a bunch of stuff there. So this is Augur, which is a betting network. It's supposed to be able to bet on absolutely any event in the world. It was really great, great ICO, really pumped well, made a bottom formation here, give us some more pump in December, January, a little bit of a pump here in April, May, and that was a killer candle upward. Probably got a lot of people FOMO buying into that. Down, down it came. Let's zoom in. Now we're looking at the 1-hour bars. Lower lows, it's just the very beginning of what could be a bottom formation. 1 month view. So it could be a bottom formation here, but it really needs more time to mature because it's doing these quick blasts and then pulling back. I would really trust that it's changing direction and changing trends. I'd want it to be breaking above this support and resistance level, maybe break above it, come back and retest and go higher. But it's not giving me that happy feeling, especially when I see the on-balance volume being so deep. Can you link that to me? Yes, let's bring that up in the Discord chat too, please. That would be awesome. Anything like that. Our community is always looking for more. Here's a coin, SBD. This is Steam dollars, and it's supposed to be a stable coin. I never did get it because it was going up as Bitcoin was coming down. Then it's going down as Bitcoin's going down. So this is not a really good stable coin. It's not holding its $1 value. So it's not a market that I like. Sia coin, I think it's got great future potential. We see the RSI is showing a bit of divergence from the price. It's making a triangle formation here. And it is one of the coins that we have as an alert. If it breaks above the 81, 82 Satoshi level, it'll become a buy signal. But it's got a bit of time before that's going to be happening. But you know, it's right at historical levels. I like to see that when we go back to a year ago exactly right now. Let's zoom in on that year ago price chart. What happened to it? 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, fake out, breakout, pulled all the way back. So unless you're willing to hold the bag and just sweat it out as it's coming down this far, it's a good idea to wait for that entry. Then off it went. So the trouble is with this, there's the idea, don't buy on the breakout because it could pull back. Wait for it to show strength off of that is a good theory, but sometimes it doesn't come back. Right? It takes off and away it goes. It takes off and up and up and up and up and never comes back to retest that level. So if you had waited for it to pull back and retest, you miss out. So an alternative is to always consider that you're only going to put on part of your trade on the breakout. On the breakout, you put on a small part of your trade. If it comes back and shows strength, you'll add on to the trade and away you go. You're happy. If it comes back and it's failing and it's showing that you are not correct, you get out of that small bit of your trade and you're waiting. Now prices come up, you put a small bit of your trade on, you see that it's consolidating and showing strength, then you put on a second part of your trade. Maybe even waiting for it to pull back and show an internal 1, 2, 3 bottom, and as it's showing strength out of that, then you would add on to your trade right in here. So we'd have a little bit of the trade here, you'd have the tester and then the fail, a little bit of your trade here as it's going above, a little bit more of your trade there, because we're looking for long-term trends. Now, it's easy to see in hindsight, of course, always. But this is how we train. This is how we train our pattern recognition in our brain. Clear. Drag that up. Drag it all the way up. So now we can see where the 1, 2, 3 top formation, and it came out of this trend line, the parallel channel. And then we can easily see that we created a new parallel channel on the way down. And as it came out of that parallel channel on the other side, it's another entry signal. So these parallel channels are great for entries and for exits all the way along. You see them happening over and over again. And I don't know why the cryptos do the parallel channels so tightly, but the more I study the parallel channels and where the markets come in and come out of those channels, the more I see they coordinate really beautifully with the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. So even here, as we are seeing from this position, our parallel channel and prices fading out of that parallel channel. And as they do, it's time to get out. And we can see how significant that is. Now we're at another bottom formation, and I could draw it already. You can already see where the parallel channel has the potential to be. We'll see how that turns out. I'll have to ask Snorkel+1. Maybe he'll share it on TradingView and link it for your Radiogenic. Very good, Mr. Babs. You're a respectable fellow. Great to have you along. And if you haven't already, come and join our Discord chat. Anybody who's also watching along, now on the live show or later, SNT, well, it's making new lows. Nothing going on here that we can dig our teeth into. Steam also making new lows and some pretty heavy selling too. Sad. but it's still got ways to go. It's only 6,700 Satoshi. There's still thousands of Satoshi down below it that it could keep going. Storage. This has got a great revenue stream attached to it, and it's just getting up and going. I have a stack of hard drives here to be turning on to this network, and I'll be earning storage coins. I'm looking forward to it, but it's making a great bottom formation. Really nice. Let me go to I am in the 12-hour bars. It's already had the moving average crossover, crossover, crossover again. Maybe it would be a good idea to look at the 1-day bars, and we still have a crossover twice. Let's look at the 3-day bars. Zoom in. It's skewed. It's just not enough data. At any rate, we have double bottoms here. We have a descending wedge triangle, which generally is bearish. But as it breaks above these levels, I am very bullish on this one. And I'm sitting on a nice bag of it. Not only that, I've got my hard drives ready, so when this stuff is really ready and going, I'll be earning and I'll be trading it as well. I like this formation. I like the project. I like their revenue stream. STR is one that really got me. I think I made a bit of a profit on it, but I'm still holding a good bit of it too. So it made this massive triangle here that to me looked like it was just about to go up to 9,000 Satoshi. I thought this triangle would stand straight up and it would just be going and going. But it really follows what Bitcoin's been doing. So November the 14th, or a little bit after that, you can see here, it started to come down with Bitcoin, down, down, down. So as Bitcoin does bottom out and start to turn around, it may be that this turns around and goes up too, but no signal for us on the simple trading plan yet, except this nice capitulation low. That's good. But it, it's got to mature now. It's got to make this bottom formation right at the same time as the lowest lows of Bitcoin. Isn't that cool? And now it's come up a little bit. So the more of these markets that are making these formations and showing strength from this, the better. The more I'm feeling like Bitcoin is finding a bottom and is going to be turning around. Nothing to do here though. It's just watching it. Syscoin, it was making this bottom formation. I wasn't watching for it to be blasting off, and off it went unexpectedly. However, when we look at the longer term views here, as it was coming up through October, we were watching this saying, it's almost a buy, it's an alert, it's almost a buy, it's almost a buy. Even though the moving averages had crossed over, even though it had broken down trend lines, it hadn't broken out of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation properly yet. And so it stayed an alert this whole time, and we didn't get into it all the way along. It never gave us a buy signal. And then things started to fade off. So that simple trading plan protected us from getting in on this. Now it's made a nice bottom formation, and if it continues, I would like to see it pull back, touch this, touch it again, and then go. I'd like to see that ascending wedge triangle now that it's given this pump on a great amount of volume. Then I would be more comfortable about looking to buy into it. This kind of idea. We'll see how this plays out over time, but it caught me unaware and I didn't get into any of this as it was taking off. I do have some of this at a huge loss. I printed out some paper wallets in about this time, April, May of 2018. So maybe it was around this time. I printed out some paper wallets for a whole bunch of different coins and put them into the safety deposit box of the bank. And I've still got them. Didn't work out well. Viacoin. It's coming into making a formation. And we're seeing some really nice on-balance volume buying candles going on here. I call these pre-pump candles. And it could be telling us that things are going to be taking off in this. Now we have this formation. A break above these levels would give us that buy signal lining up again. And it's still, this is why I'm so thinking that we're on the launch pad for all of these alts, is so many of them are shaping up. They're not giving us the signals yet. They're on the launch pad, and we're going to be watching for them to break out above these levels. And then I want to be prepared. I want to know that I'm going to maybe take on a small bit of my position here and add on to it as it shows strength after the retest. Those are the kind of things that I want to be planning for now. So when it happens, I'm already ready. Now we go to VTC, and it's doing much the same thing. There's the break of the downtrend line. We're seeing some nice pre-pump candles on some great on-balance volume. It's pulled back and retested these levels. So a break above those, you know, it gives us the same type of setup. Over and over, we're seeing the same type of setup, and the same strategy will be applied. Either you buy on the breakout or you wait for it to come back and retest, and then you buy. And it's probably a good idea to do a little bit of the buy and a little bit more as you're scaling in. The fact that you're expecting a moon launch tells us we're nowhere near the bottom. The moon launch is going to take 12 to 18 months for it to actually manifest. And if we go back to some of the other bull markets and just pull up NAV coin, 309%, we can see that I was, and you can check my videos back in March of 2017, I was making videos saying, look at these bottom formations, look at these bottom formations, and away they went, and away they went. So this is the kind of moon launch I'm expecting. We're not going very fast. We're going to take a long time to get to the moon, but there's always that bottom. This is what we're looking for, is the initial buy-in place, and then the add-on spot into our trend trading strategy. So moon, yes. Fast, no. Straight up, not likely. Here's one that's looking great. Look at the on-balance volume shaping up here. We've got a very sharp triangle shaping up here. Looking good. It came out of this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's come back and retested it and showed strength. And I'm not a big believer in counterparty. I think it's one of those older projects that there are better things out there. But if it makes the chart pattern, like in Namecoin, I just trade it. I try not to judge the project too much because I really can't learn everything that there is. So here's one that was a trade closed too soon, and I knew it as it hit our stop loss. So what we did is we got in here in November as it did this break and held, and then we put our stop loss above our entry, just above our entry point, and we got stopped out. So it was a little bit of a profit, but bad timing. This market is going to be doing some dancing over the year to come. And it's done some amazing moves, and it's going to do some amazing moves again. So it is one that I'll be re-putting on my position. And maybe even soon, if I zoom in on this again, it is giving a little 1, 2, 3 bottom. The RSI is being cooperative. The on-balance volume is good. I would like to see I want to see it making this ascending wedge triangle, and then this would give me a cleaner entry point. Then we're seeing that consolidation and trend continuation pattern, and that would be good. Goodness me. Muted. XMR. This is one that I was calling as a sell signal. And it's faded off below that. Will it keep going down? I don't know, but it's already past my exit signal on a sell. So I would be, and it's just my bias because I'm thinking that all of the privacy-based coins are going to be restricted by the SEC just because they want to track everything and tax you for everything they can. And it's all under the name of stopping money laundering and stopping terrorism and crime and all that kind of stuff. But really, they want to tax you. XPM. So here's our downtrend line, nice parallel line. And it was just a straight line all the way through here. As we were watching this, we were going fail, 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 straight line all the way down. Then it's hit the bottom of this straight line. We've got the RSI divergence, a little bit of positive on-balance volume. you got to watch it. Now it's made this bottom and it's floating along here. If it breaks above these levels, it turns into a buy signal. And we know that in the past, when it hit a buy signal, it just blasted. And I don't know why, but I'm watching for that again now that it's down to these levels. And it's making this formation. And we have the RSI switching over. What I'd really want to see is some of this on-balance volume picking up, and then that's awesome. Ripple, this is going to overtake Bitcoin as the #1 in market cap. This is staging as a much, much larger move higher. So if you don't have some Ripple, consider that. Why? I know I can hear somebody saying, why is it going to become bigger than Bitcoin? You'll have to do some searching on it, but it is going to be the interledger protocol. It's going to be the coin that runs the interledger protocol. And what is the interledger protocol? You know, a ledger is your bookkeeping. So a bookkeeper keeps track of your ledger, your buys and sells, your sales, your expenses, and that's your ledger. The interledger protocol is going to move money from one person's ledger, one business's ledger, one bank's ledger, to another bank, another person, another business. It's going to be the core underneath of money liquidity of all types of assets, not just money, but real estate, and literally trillions of dollars a day of money moving around the globe all the time. And it's moving around the globe like you do a bank transfer. It takes 7 to 10 days sometimes. It's because they're working on a system that was put together in the 1970s, and they're still using that system today for most of the banks. And they've been working at having a better way, a faster way, a more electronic way since 2006, I believe they started this. So in 2010 or 2011, when Ripple was put together, it was put together knowing what it was there to solve the industrial solutions for. So this is going to be going crazy. Yes, Ripple is a centralized company. It's a centralized digital asset for now. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's centralized or not. That doesn't matter about the price of it. It doesn't matter about the usage of it. That's just the anarchists wanting everything to be away from the big banks, and it's not going to happen. They're just going to find a way to use this stuff for their advantage so that it makes banking smoother and faster. And Ripple is going to be the one to do it. So now it's at, what, 50 cents each, a little bit less than 50 cents each. It'll go up to $5 each, and then it's going to go up to $50 each, and then it may reach $500 each, which means that $10 will turn into $100, will turn into $1,000, will turn into $10,000. $10 will turn into $10,000 if this goes from 50 cents to $500. And you think, well, that's crazy. We've had Bitcoin show us it went from 25 cents in January 2011 to over almost $20,000. From 25 cents to $20,000. So your $10 in Bitcoin investment back in January of 2011 is insane. You're a millionaire. So it's not a bad idea to have a little bit of Ripple as part of your portfolio and just set it aside. Don't try to jump in and out, but just leave it. If you'd have just left your Bitcoin over all those times and not thought about jumping in and out, you'd be sailing sweet. Even now at the price at $3,300, it's crazy to think from 25 cents to $2.50 to $25 to $250 to $2,500. 10 times, 10 times, 10 times, 10 times. So watch Ripple and likely XMR as well. No. XLM, which is STR, Stellar Lumens. So it is, Ripple is a centralized company. XRP is a decentralized digital asset. Actually, I don't know if you can mine XRP. I'm not sure about that, but I do know that they will be expanding out to allow that kind of thing happening in the future from what they say. So at any rate, this is a good one. This is one of the best ones. And this formation is beautiful. staging up and consolidating, staging up and consolidating. It's beautiful. Now we got a couple more and then we're done. So if you have 243 people watching now, I'll bet you we've got bot guy on here again, trying to get me to buy their botted services. I'll send you hundreds of people watching your video. And if there are 269 people watching the video now, how come it's not showing up in the top corner here as real people? It's not showing up in the top corner here. So it's not getting me very excited there. And if there are 292 people watching now, click on the like button. There should be 30 likes in 10 seconds if we have 300 people watching right now and I ask you to click on the like button and you like it. That would just be hammered right now. It would be smoking. In addition, I'd like to ask just before I sign off and go, because there's no buy signal here on Zcash. I think Zcash is another one of those privacy coins that will get trashed. ZRX, bottom, but nothing turning around to give us a buy signal. So of the 302 people who are apparently watching right now, let me know where in the world you are from. Write in the chat. Say, I'm from Lithuania. I'm from Australia. I'm from Norway. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm from England. I'm from Canada. I'm from United States. From all those hundreds of people that are apparently watching right now, Holland, from Peter. Holland is another place I want to go. I have some friends from Holland from back in university days. Great people. Love the accent in their English. Radiogenics from the US. So you're losing out on Poloniex, going away from margin trading. I think the US, Greece. I have a friend, Konstantinos Emmanuel Athanasopoulos in Greece. He's a fantastic guy. It took me a long time to learn how to say his name too. Where is everybody else from? We're supposed to have 270 odd people watching. So don't trust the numbers you see. Sometimes they're botted. But we got 17 likes. I like it. Yes, you're very, very mad about it. So you can't trade leverage on Bitfinex, Ethfinex. You can't. Can you trade on BitMEX? I know there's another one. Oh, liquidated short position. Love it. Look at that. I don't like liquidations, actually. They're not nice. Radiogenics mad. Snorkel Puss. Hey, we've got some people giving you high fives for your help with their trading. Another liquidated short. Come on, liquidated shorts. We're looking at XBT. Let's zoom into the 1 minute view on this now. Where did USDC go on Binance? I don't know. Ooh. I love to see some of the stuff going on in the live program where Bitcoin is taking off and going to be showing us some of those bottom formation breakouts. And then we know that all of the alts are going to be following along. We're going to start seeing some waves of stuff happening. Waves of stuff happening. 3-day view, 1 week view. Here's our 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Go back to the 3-day view. So here's our double bottom. Here's our number 2 point, a double number 2 point. Prices have come back, giving us a nice solid number 3, and we're getting a little bit of pressure out of that, which all of it together is giving me that feeling that we really are turning around. And this is the moment. Nice to be live. With 208 people watching, 18 likes on the thumbs up button. Love it. And what we've done here now is we've gone through all of the coins on Poloniex. And I didn't do a lot of writing here. I didn't update this all the way along. And I didn't even share the spreadsheet link. What I'm going to be doing is changing up this. We'll see how it goes. But maybe we'll do more of this because we're so few that we're actually near the trade. We had a few that were alerts, but certainly very few that were actually buys. And very few of them that are, actually there was a number of them that were fails or near fails. They're still making new lows. J constant, I think this is the turnaround for Bitcoin right this moment as we're watching. If it breaks above this level, that is really powerful. If it breaks above this level, that's very powerful. And it's also great to see it when we have the on-balance volume changing direction. We see the RSI changing direction. Even if we zoom out to the 1 month view, clear that stuff off, we see we got lower lows. The RSI is not really a very strong divergence here. If we go to the 3 month view, now we're starting to see a stronger divergence where we can see the lower lows and the RSI is just not agreeing. And we're not seeing dumps of greater volume where the bears are gaining strength, but instead they're not dumping as much. Each time it's going down, there's less and less selling pressure happening. So they're running out of steam. And as I drew earlier, this is just like throwing a ball up into the air. You can tell when it's peaking out. You can see when it's losing momentum. It's actually accelerating upward as it's going down because it's going down more slowly. It could be that the shorts are coming back tomorrow. Maybe they are just taking their Sunday off, but I don't think so. I think that we're going to see a bunch of shorts feeling pain, and we're going to see a whole bunch more of these short liquidations coming up. Just bought 5 Bitcoin an hour ago. Fantastic, Peter. I hope this really turns out for you. I hope this is the bottom and it really takes off from here, especially when you're on the live stream here. Somebody right beside us here just took $3.3 million trade. That's big. Now here's a short getting liquidated. Let's zoom into the 1 minute bars and see what's going on. Oh, it's looking good. That's some really good strength. And I think Bitcoin likes Peter. Peter bought. Let's go up. As many times it's been the opposite for me. As soon as I mention, oh look, it's breaking out, it turns around and starts failing that minute. So now we're down. The bots are gone. We're down to what shows 22 people watching, 23 people watching, which is pretty standard for what we've been doing here. This is a growing channel, and you got to have the fortitude to go through this kind of deep trading study. Back to the 1 minute view. More. I love it. Where is my multi-coin chart? Multi-crypto charts. Multicoinchart.com. Zoom into the 1 minute view. Now we can watch Bitcoin. This is Ethereum US dollar, which I like to change to Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Zoom into the 1 minute view. Let's see what it's doing. Litecoin, Bitcoin. Let's zoom into the 1 minute view. Watch what it's doing. Look at this consolidation pattern. After this zoom and it's consolidating, I think it's staging. Almost a go. Doesn't have that much volume here. Let's take a look at BitShares, just because I have a bunch of them. Hoping this stage is up from here. This is a great charting service. No cost. Multicoincharts.com. I've done well in my trading overall, but certainly in the bear markets, I lost money on them. And I think the most I lost was, not that I lost, but I missed out on opportunity from July of 2017 when we hit that peak. I was expecting a longer uptrend, and so as things pulled back, I thought it was just consolidation before the uptrend continued to follow along with Bitcoin. But from July of 2017 to December of 2017, the alts got squished down, 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 down versus Bitcoin, but they were going up in US dollar value because Bitcoin was charging up so high. And if I would have liquidated everything at that time and put it all into Bitcoin, I would have made an additional $500,000. So I call it my $500,000 mistake by holding on to altcoins instead of switching into Bitcoin. So anyway, I'm doing these streams, and I'm doing these streams, and I'm doing these streams so that I have my plan in place, and I'm doing the stream so that I'm really up to date on what is actually happening. And I'm doing the stream so I have an audience of people who are going to say to me, hey, didn't you say this is what you were going to do at this time? I want you guys to pull me up onto the rug and say, hey, what are you talking about now? This is what you said you were going to do. When it tops out like this and we see all the alts coming out of this parallel channel and making a top formation and going down, this is the time to be selling everything and putting it into stablecoin. And I want to watch for that stuff. I've planned it out. Now I want to watch for it actually happening. So you guys are my double check on all of that stuff. Love the surge. And if you haven't already, there's a link down below the video in the description and up in the chat back earlier to our Discord channel. I haven't been watching it as I've been on stream, but if you join us on Discord, I always say hello and welcome everybody there. If you respond back and you're part, then I add you as a community member. And if you spam other channels and stuff like that and sales pitch, I ban you. So it's a very clean channel, very good bunch of people, and they're educated about this trading system. They're all practicing the simple trading plan. Most everybody has gone over to IntroToCryptos.ca and at least signed up to get the free chapter from the book. Many people there have purchased the book, and many people have purchased the alerts package. And the alerts package is based on similar to what I'm doing here, where we're going through all of the markets over and over again. And there's two different packages, one that goes over about 100 cryptocurrencies, and actually the sale price is done, so I'm going to have to remove that. And the other one is for about 200 currencies, which is everything on Poloniex and everything on Binance, sorry. And what I do is I have the Poloniex market watch here. I look at everything. I mark them as a hold or as an alert or neutral and watch, and I check them all every single day. I take screenshots of what our trade pattern is, and I put this up so that everybody can log into the website and find this information. It's all filtered down, so all you see is, I see where my mistake is here now, but all you see is which ones are the alerts, which ones we're actually trading and holding, what is our percentage gain and loss on them. You get to follow them all. We have the Binance markets, and they're all filtered down, so you can just see, here we go, the Binance alerts, all of the Binance alerts. Many coins are on alert right now. Which ones are on a trade? Very few of them, but we've got some nice 30%, 10%. Some of them are down a little bit, MCO, 20%, some really nice trades happening. And it saves you the hours of watching these videos. Imagine the hours to go through Binance. Binance has 149 or 150 different markets. And so the alert package saves you hours every day scanning through everything. And it also comes with a copy of the book so that you can be educated. You can know what the strategies are. Rather than just following along what you're told, you're actually understanding it and implementing it based on knowledge, not just based on some black box that you follow along just because they said so. Taxation is theft, and we got to pay, otherwise you go to jail. You got to pay. And as a Canadian, I'm I've always been happy to pay taxes. It's never been a bother for me because we have it so good here. And last year I paid over $70,000 in taxes, more than I earned in the best year of my life before cryptocurrency trading. It was crazy, and I was happy. I wrote those checks out, and I didn't write a check, I actually just transferred the money. But I felt really good doing that. It was a pleasure. And I'm not going to let myself get stressed about taxes. You got to do it, so you may as well find pleasure in the fact that you're helping pay for the roads, you're helping pay for healthcare and schools and everything. It's all good. $47 watching now. Maybe it is actually 47 people. And if there is 47 or 43 people watching right now, 31, hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate the thumbs up button as the your payment for watching this free training. And if you're looking for more, head over to IntroToCryptos.ca, sign up for that free chapter from the book. And if you're wanting some even more, sign up for the alerts package. It is fantastic. Not just the alerts package, but you also get a separate place in our channel where I am updating things all the way through, all day, all the time. I'm always updating and talking about what is going on right now. Theta has come back enough now that it looks like it's a good trade. POE, here's the pump and the fail. Here's a signal from Litecoin that I was talking about. LUN has caught my attention. The 12-hour bar is looking good, so I'm zooming into the 4-hour bar and placing an alert for a springboard entry. And, of course, I teach you more about those trades as well. This is just children playing the weekend. Tomorrow and the next day is the dumping continues. 77% chance of dumping. I think you must be a meteorologist. So ENJ is looking great. We moved our stop loss up to just above the entry price. EOS is a new buy. The alert had been triggered. Fuel is a new alert on a springboard entry. The chart's looking good. Flat consolidation over the last 10 days, while the RSI is showing strong divergence at the same time. Even better, the present consolidation range is higher than the historical lows back in September. So if you're interested in these kind of updates and this kind of alerts, I'm interested in having you join our community. But I'll sign off for now. I could keep going on forever. This is endless. And what I'll do is I'll be saying hello to the new people in our Discord chat and an astrologist. Awesome. I went to a tarot card reader one time. But I don't do much with astrologists. I don't read my horoscope very often. Anyway, great to have you guys along. I appreciate you having here. Lots of conversation in the chat. And let's continue it now over on Discord. I'll see you guys over there. Ciao for now.